Hey there everyone, and welcome back to episode 10 of our Let's Play series for Football Manager 2016. Last time around we had our very disappointing exit in the Champions League, so we lost 2-0 at Real Madrid and it ended up finishing third in the group. Which means we still have Euro Cup football, but it was quite disappointing given that we were doing quite well in the Champions League for quite a while. Had some really good results, so unfortunately that's the way it goes. But yeah, that game, actually, the away game against Dynamo Kiev really sort of killed us, that 1-0 loss. Also the 2-2 draw at home, like that was quite early in the season. We weren't, it was when we weren't sort of hadn't hit our form, we weren't sort of hit our stride. So anyway, that's the way things go. So we'll just pick ourselves up and keep moving. What I think we're actually going to do now, guys, rather than actually playing the sort of showing you every sort of single game, I think what we're going to do from now until the end of the season is sort of have basically monthly updates. The reason I'm going to do that is that basically, like, we're fairly comfortable in the league, and I think that's hopefully should remain so unless we sort of have any major loss of form or player injuries. So I'm not sure there's a huge amount of benefit showing you guys like sort of Eredivisie games every week. I'd rather maybe spend some time doing every like month or two, just showing you like player development, major events, and like if we have a particularly interesting game, like in terms of goals or tactically or something like that, I can jump in and show you that. But I think we've sort of seen a bit, you guys know how the tactic works, you know how the training and all that kind of stuff is set up. Champions League is definitely going to be our focus over the next couple of seasons, so given that we're out of that now, I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll play through for a little while and see what happens. And obviously any major events or anything like that happens, I'll jump back into the video and show you guys. But yeah, I'll sort of probably see you in a month or so, probably in the winter update, in the winter break actually. I'll probably do a bit of an update towards the end of that, see how our players are developing, all that kind of stuff. So that should be good. Alrighty guys, I'll see you all soon. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Alrighty, so we've played about a month of game time. It's about 14th of January 2016. We can jump into our games first. So we won our two Eredivisie games against Utrecht and De Graafschap. So won both of those 4-1, which was fairly good, nice victories there. Actually lost the Dutch Cup 4th round against VVV, or Triple V, whatever you want to call them. And they're a second tier club. They are leading the second division. They have been an Eredivisie club for quite a while, but we still should have won. We played our strongest team. It was just one of those games. Unfortunately, we couldn't really do anything right. No matter what I tried, it just didn't really go our way. So, unfortunately, that happens sometimes. A little bit disappointing. We'll have to do a bit better run at the Dutch Cup next season, but that's life. As you can see here, we've played a few friendlies just to get our guys back up to fitness because we are on the winter break at the moment. Just about to come back into it and play our first game here against Eredivisie game against ADO Den Haag. So we won a couple and then drew 1-1 with River, which was a little bit better competition, just a bit more of an interesting game there. Alrighty, in terms of events, there have been some interesting ones. There's been one major one which I was almost going to show you guys, but then I thought there's not really a whole lot of point. There's nothing that wasn't going to change or anything. It is very disappointing, but it's not overly surprising. We've had the annual Ajax poaching season has begun, and this is what happens. Kenny T has left for Porto in Portugal, and for £9 million. So unfortunately, they came in with an offer initially of, I think it was around about $4 million. He was only valued at $2 million. And I rejected it and said it wasn't good enough, and he got really upset and said it was, and then he got really cranky and all that kind of stuff, and his morale plummeted, and he said he didn't want to play for the club anymore, and all this kind of stuff. So in the end, I basically tried to fleece them as much as possible and ended up getting them up to £9 million. So, which I think it's very disappointing because he's going to be a very good player, but he actually had a bit of development over the last month or so as well. Actually, his tackling and marking both came up, positioning came up as well, and stamina came up a little bit. So he's going to be a very good player. So it is massively disappointing. I don't like doing it, but it's just, unfortunately, it's just a fact of life. Playing as Ajax, you're not going to be able to keep all your players. You just can't do it. You've either got the choice of keeping players that are really unhappy and they don't want to be there, which can destroy the morale in the dressing room and get everybody else in the dressing room upset. And then usually they're not going to play well anyway, so they don't want to be there. So the performance is going to suffer. So you can take a stand for a while, but eventually, if clubs really are insistent on getting one of your good players, if they offer enough, unfortunately you're going to have to take it. Which is why it's so important to have such a strong B team and under 19s. Basically, let this sort of production line keep going. Just you sort of got to keep having these players coming through, because unfortunately, it's just a fact of life. You're going to lose some of your players. So I actually really liked him. He'd been playing really well for us. He'd done really quite well. He'd been performing really well. As you can see here, actually played average rating of 8 there. So I had 2 assists, 1 player of the match. This is obviously only in Eredivisie games, didn't take into account all the other games and stuff. But I suppose here you see down here actually. So he played 16 games for us this season. Average rating of 7.7. Had 4 assists, 4 player of the matches, and we did really, really well. So anyway, disappointing, but like I said, that's just part of playing as Ajax. It's just something you have to deal with. Alrighty, so what we've done, obviously we've got Van Rijn as our number 1 right back now. We've actually brought in Leroy Owusu from the second team. So he's a 19-year-old. It's not going to be quite good as Kenny T, but he is quite a decent player already. His physicals are fairly good. Stamina and strength needs a little bit of work, so hopefully we'll sort of work on that a little bit. His big problem though is his marking, tackling, passing, basically his sort of technical stats. His mentals are fairly good really. Off the ball positioning, work rate, they're okay. They're not amazing. He's still got a bit of development, basically a star and a half, which is quite a bit really. He's being tutored at the moment, so that's why his determination stuff is coming up. So hopefully his personality, he's actually changed from, I think it was down from spirited or something, it's now come up to fairly professional. So anyway, it has sort of increased, it has improved a little bit. So yeah, which is good. So we're going to give him quite a few game times over the second half of the season, and hopefully he'll get a fair bit of development, and hopefully he can be a really good player for us next season. So that's what we've done there. Alright, as you can see here, we're actually starting, some of our players actually have all these wanted icons against them. So like I said, it just is part of playing as Ajax. Sillerson here is wanted by Everton. So far, only clubs that Nick Vergevi's had a couple of offers, but I managed to reject those because they're only around the £2 million mark, and it's not really worth it. Well, they weren't really worth it. It's only basically around his offer price. So generally, I try and get. I say for sort of most players, around about the 10 million mark is my minimum. If I get an offer around there, then it is really hard to knock that back as Ajax. But for some of the really quality players, you're looking at £15 million, which is obviously quite a bit of money for a club like Ajax. But yeah, anyway, so I've managed to not keep him here for the moment. It looks like he was a bit injured as well, so the sort of interest in him has died off, which is good for us. Like I said, Tillerson's interest from Everton, Van Rijn has some interest from Newcastle, and David Klaassen is from Tottenham, I think. Yeah, Tottenham there. So the English clubs really like to poach Ajax, which you can't really blame them, but yeah, anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get some offers in before the end of the transfer window. Hopefully I can get these guys around for this season at least, especially David Klaassen and Sillerson. I could probably do without Van Rijn. I could probably actually replace Van Rijn if I need to. Like, he's a good player. He's not amazing though. He's a little bit. I suppose he's quite a good player, but I suppose for me, I think that I could replace him if I needed to. Anyway, so hopefully we can keep all those guys. That would be good. In terms of other development, not really a whole lot actually. So obviously there's games and all that kind of stuff. Training, I'm going to run through all the training stuff in a minute. What I'm going to show you is a bit of scouting, or a bit of what we've been going. I've done quite a bit of scouting. So as I mentioned, I've changed my philosophy a little bit. I did mention this before, so it's not like a change right now. So obviously, like at the start of the series, I said, Dutch players. I've had a look at it, and I've also had to think as well, and I think it's going to take too long if we just go pure Dutch. Obviously, Netherlands is quite a small country, so in terms of regens and stuff, you only get a few really good ones each year, and there's no guarantee that even Ajax is going to get great regens. So I just think it's going to take a little bit too long in terms of a let's play. So we're actually going to expand our scouting, or scouting potential transfer range to Scandinavia. So it's very actually in keeping with what Ajax does in real life. So they've actually, like I think I mentioned, poached quite a lot of players from Scandinavian countries over the last sort of 5 years or so. So it is in keeping, and that's what I'm actually going to do. So I'm going to show you some guys I've actually come across, and I'm thinking about maybe putting some offers in for the moment, because we do have £12.5 million in transfer budget, so we do quite a bit to spend if we need to in terms of getting some youngsters in, and even maybe a few good established stars. This is probably the most interesting one. Jonathan de Guzman at Napoli is actually up for transfer for £5 million. 4.9 actually now, so PSV is actually interested in a loan. Tottenham is interested in transfer, and we're interested as well. So haven't fully discovered his stats yet. I'm still doing a bit of scouting, so actually getting that. Actually, I should have set up now. Scout him for a couple of weeks. Keep an eye on him though. He's on our shortlist, so we can see if anyone puts some offers in. Obviously, he's basically a centre mid player, and he's more of an offensive player. Oh, couldn't say that. He's an offensive player. Pretty much, he's not too bad actually in terms of looking at positioning and like tackling and marking stuff like that. They're okay, but he's sort of more of an offensive player. So you're probably looking at him in the box-to-box role sometimes because his work rate and his teamwork and stuff are quite good. His physicals are quite good as well, and they're also a bit of a replacement. I guess like rotating between David Klaassen as well, especially if David Klaassen. That's what I'm actually thinking. If Klaassen gets poached, which it's going to happen at some stage, unfortunately. Like I just know that's going to happen. So I'm looking at this as a little bit of a David Klaassen replacement. He's pretty much as good as Davey, I suspect. Probably Davey's actually a little bit better, but he's probably going to perform as well. He's obviously quite a good player. Has 19 caps for the Dutch already. He's 28 years old. It's obviously an established player. Interesting to see his personality is actually quite good as well. It's fairly professional, so we could use him for some tutoring and stuff as well. So I'm actually really tempted to jump in for him. His wages, I'm not quite sure what his wages would be. Yeah, 12 to 29k. So if we get something in the middle of that, obviously it'd be quite expensive. But if we're looking here in terms of our midfield centres, he's a really good player. So very, very interested in getting him back. So thinking about that. We'll see how we go over the next couple of days. There's a bunch of other Dutch. I've actually looked at all the Dutch players transfer list at the moment. There's not really anyone else here. Bas Dost, he's up for grabs, but he's actually not that good. It doesn't really fit our style of play and all that kind of stuff anyway. No one else really in here is sort of all that really appeals to me. Was thinking Leandro Bacuna to actually replace Kenny T as a right back. But I think we're actually probably better off. He's actually not all that amazing. I think we're actually probably better off just promoting our own guys, and we've got some decent ones coming through, so that's good. Alrighty, shortlist. Some of the players I'm interested in here. So we've got. This is actually one that I'm really, really interested in doing this. But Ramselaar from Utrecht, 19-year-old guy. He's a centre mid. 4-star potential, only 2 stars at the moment. So he has 2 stars of development to go, which is a huge amount of development to go. I think he's going to be an absolute gun. I think he's going to be a brilliant, brilliant player. Scout reports say we could get him for, they actually did say, I think it was around, I had one at some stage come in and say around about the £6.5 million mark, potentially. Obviously he's only valued at 575, but Utrecht obviously really don't want to sell him, especially to a rival. But yeah, I'm actually really, really tempted to put an offer in for him because I'm thinking that he's going to be an absolutely brilliant player. So looking at some of his stats here, like obviously his passing technique, first touch are quite good. Dribbling, finishing, they're all sort of quite good. But in terms of like a Davy Klaassen type player, I really think he's going to be very, very similar to Davy Klaassen actually. A lot of his mental is actually really quite good as well. Personality, he's only balanced at the moment, so I'd want to do some work on his personality, getting tutored by someone with a little bit more a better personality, more professional personality. His physicals are okay, nothing amazing, but they don't really need to be for a midfield sort of player. So I'm really tempted to either we put an offer for him now, or we wait until the end of the season. Probably actually wait until the end of the season because we don't really need him at the moment. So I'm thinking probably wait until the end of the season actually, now that I think about it and that I talk it through. We'll wait until the end of the season, but he's definitely someone we're going to bring into the club. So obviously Dutch, young, 19 years old, a lot of potential. He's exactly the type of person we're going to try and bring into the club. Alrighty, who else have we got here? Jesper Drost. Why are we looking at you? I don't think we really are we? No, 23 years old. No. Marcus Henriksen. No, I weren't really interested in you. You're not a bad player. Was sort of interested because you are Norwegian, 23 years old. Yeah, probably thinking not though. De Guzman we've already talked about. Bas Dost, I should get him off the shortlist. Jesper Drost off there as well. Marcus Berg. No, we're not interested in you. There's something I was looking at for a little bit. Move Van Kessel. I'm actually going to leave Van Kessel on there. Scouting reports are good from like really, really good people. Like 20 potential here saying he's got 3.5 stars and he's got 2.5 at the moment. So he's got a full star of development to go. But he obviously was an Ajax player. He would cost us, 575 to 750k, which is not an insignificant amount of money. And I'm just looking at a lot of his stats. Like some of his stuff's good. A lot of his physicals are good. Like, he's really quite quick. Stamina's not great though. Agility's not great either. He's obviously quite lazy. Teamwork doesn't have a lot of vision. Off the ball's not amazing. Passing is a little bit average. Some of these are quite good. So first touch, finishing, dribbling are really quite good. Composure's not bad, actually. Anticipation's okay. Bravery doesn't really matter for an offensive player. Concentration, yeah, I suppose doesn't really matter too much. Flair's not really, quite low on flair as well, so I don't know. Obviously, he came from Ajax, and we obviously let him go on a free transfer. So we actually do have first choice, because it's actually Trenton is an affiliated club, so we actually do have first choice to actually get him back. So may look at something at the end of the season. I'm not really quite sure that we need him though. Depends on what guys we keep. We could potentially bring him to the club, but I'm thinking there's probably actually better people around. Alrighty. This is a guy I'm actually quite interested in. Christopher Olsen. Someone I found at Midtjylland in it's a Danish club, and obviously now that we've sort of opened up Scandinavia, it does actually give us a lot of options, because they have some really, going through the bit of a golden generation, the old Scandinavian countries, quite a lot of good players. So yeah, so obviously he's a centre mid as well. He is an offensive minded player as well. But he's actually got like vision and flair. They're really quite high. His technique, passing, first touch are really quite good as well. His physicals are actually quite good. Don't really need to be any better than that. And some really good mentors. 20 years old. Could get him for around about, probably even under 2 million, which is really a bit of a bargain. I'm not actually quite sure the scouting reports really reflect how good he is. Like, there's only saying 2.5 stars, whereas I'm sort of looking at him and saying that like, he's not perfect. Excuse me, guys. But he does have a little bit of development left in him, I think. I suspect he would anyway. Sort of not really quite saying that all that much, but I think he actually does. I'm actually going to get a scout report from someone with a little bit better judging potential to see if he does have a little bit more development in him, because I actually think he would be really quite a good player. A little bit of a bargain as well. It's probably someone that you could actually, having your team for a season, if and give him some games, his value would shoot up a little bit, and then you could even sell him on for quite a little bit more money. So maybe even actually thinking that little bit of a farm, because some of his preferred moves are quite good as well. Like his personality, fairly determined, which is quite a good one. Good determination, so he would be quite a good scout shooter as well. Like if he stayed at club. But in terms of his preferred moves, tries killer balls, I actually quite like that. Comes deep to get balls is quite a good one as well. Dictates tempo is another good one. Dwells on ball isn't so much, but that's 3 decent preferred moves in there. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think he would be good. I'm going to get another scout report. I'm just going to check who our good scouts are actually. It would be actually good if you actually see the actual scouts in here, like in terms of their attributes, somewhere in there. So I'm actually going to jump into scouting with our stuff. Where's the assignments? Here we go. It doesn't say that, does it? Right, stuff. Where's our scouts? It doesn't show it in here either. Thought there's a way you could actually see it more easily. What your scouting stats are. So look, we do have a 20 judging potential scout here somewhere. John Steen Olsen, right? So got to remember that he's going to be like our number 1 guy that we go to, because he's a very, very good scout. Alrighty, so we're going to jump back to Christoph. Where we go? There we go. And get a scout report from Mr. Olsen there. So I'm just going to get just a report card. And like I said, I just want to unlock whether he's actually got a little bit more potential. So actually, I'm not sure if you guys can say this. In this recommendation thing, these last, the last half of this star and the first half of the next one are actually in black, which means there is potential for him to actually, basically the scout isn't sure. He could have a little bit more improvement, but the scout's not 100% sure. So that's a little bit of a change in this year's version, I think, in terms of having those little black stars and stuff there. So a little bit more ambiguity. Alrighty, Ruben Jensen. This is an interesting one. We could actually sign this guy on a free. He's a defensive midfielder. Was natural in defensive and centre mid. He's 27, Norwegian. So passing is good, technique's good, first touch is all good. Physicals are really, fairly good really for what he needs to be. Strength is a little bit low, but it doesn't really matter too much. Good work, teamwork. Flair's okay, vision's okay. Anticipation's good, composure and all that kind of stuff. So he looks actually like quite a decent player. He's a current international, so 41 caps. A bit of interest from Trabzonspor and obviously us as well. But like I mentioned, we actually could get him for a free. So he's actually, at the end of the season, I should say, his contract expires at the end of the year. I don't know, I'm thinking we probably don't really need him, especially if we're going to get some other guys. And obviously we've got some players and stuff coming through. Probably better to get some players and stuff coming through. I'm just just when you see players like this who you can actually get on a free, and like you could, like obviously valued at 1.8 at the moment as it's near the end of his contract, so he's actually going to be valued a lot more than that if you're actually getting some game time and all that kind of stuff, and you could end up selling him for, you know, quite a good amount of money, which obviously not buying and stuff isn't necessarily the aim of the game here, but we are going to sort of try and stockpile Dutch talent, and to do that we're going to have to pay, because a lot of the Dutch clubs obviously don't like selling to a rival club, so for a lot of their youngsters they're actually going to pay some decent transfer fees, probably over the odds a lot of the time, so I'm just thinking that, I don't know, like we don't really need him is probably my thing. Maybe I'm just being a little bit silly and saying we don't really need him. Anyway, I'm going to just get a report from Mr. Olsen again as our last one, and I'll think about it. I'll see where we go. Who else have we got here? There was another Danish or Scandinavian player that I did sort of have a look in here. Scouted. Here we are. Where are we? Anyway, scouted. Region, Scandinavian. Bump that up a bit. And there was someone else here that I thought was quite interesting. She was someone at Midtjylland again the second time. I think it was this guy, wasn't it? Yeah, potentially Mikkel Juland. So we get him for probably around $1 million, I suspect. Obviously only 18 years old, so attacking midfield left. What reports have we got here? I'm actually going to get another one by Mr. Olsen, as he's going to be our little go-to man, because he does have 20 potential, judging potential. So basically want to see what his potential is, because I think he could be quite good. Some of his mentals are a little bit weak. Work rate and stuff aren't amazing. They don't really have to be for like an inside forward, which is definitely what he would be, because obviously finishing there. Composure needs a little bit of work. Physicals could do a bit of the work, but they're going to definitely improve on their own, given this 18. I think like a lot of his technical stuff are really quite good, so if you get his physicals up a bit, he's doing some work on his mentals as well, which you could shoot him. Oops, no, don't want to do that. He is, yeah, so he's only got balanced personality, so we'd shoot him to get a little bit better personality. I think he could be really quite good as well, so he's on my short, actually add him to the short list. There we go, should have been on there before. Yeah, anyway, so there you go, guys. It's a bit of an idea of what's happening. You know, some interesting stuff, so that's it's quite interesting. Who's this guy? Mark Brink, 17-year-old from Esbjerg. Oh god, no idea how to pronounce that. Actually, get another report by only 61%. All right, I'm gonna get assign Mr. Olsen to watch for a couple of weeks, because he could be interesting as a 17-year-old midfielder. Yeah. Anyway, so interesting. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much everything. So I've rattled on for quite a while. Actually, training. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to do that in the next episode, guys. We're at 21 minutes. I'm actually going to get into some game time. You guys haven't really seen any games at the moment, I think, this episode. So I'm going to run through, maybe just at the end of this episode, I'll just run through some games. See how we go. A little bit of interesting, a little bit of a different thing. And I'll run through training at the start of the next episode. It's going to take a little bit of a while, because there's been a fair bit of development for a lot of our guys, so, which is good news, but it is going to take a bit of time to run through them and, you know, look at how they're all going and stuff. So that should be good. So cool. Alright, guys, so we're going to keep the game going. We've got a game against ADO Den Haag in a few days' time. Pleased with El Ghazi's progress. So yeah, you can see he's made a lot of progress, which is really quite good. So just going to have a look in here, how he's going. So technique, pace, acceleration, work rate, passing, also stamina, they've all come up. So decisions actually come up a lot as well, up 12. So actually his focus is in quickness. So his pace has come up a little bit. Acceleration hasn't. I think we're probably going to leave it there for a little bit. Dribbling's up again. So he's having some really good development as well, so which is quite pleasing to see. He's probably got another little bit of development to go. Can we actually get... someone with a little bit better judging potential. You're there. You're 15. Can we get scouts? I don't think we can actually get scout reports from in here, can we? Wim Yonk, you've got a 17. Yeah, so you should have a fair bit of development. Yeah, if you actually got another sort of, I reckon potentially like half a star to maybe even potentially a star, depending on, you know, the player. So yeah, you're going to be a very good player. So that's cool. Alrighty, so players available for Ajax under 19s. A lot of our guys sort of lacking at match sharpness. Can't talk. I'm going to actually give Staley Sinkgraven a 90 minutes in there, because he's only just come back from injury. Same with Forgive. I'm going to give give you 90 minutes in there. I'm not going to play you guys. I'll give Didrik Boyle a game as well, because he's probably going to play for a little. Bolson will probably play in the first game, so that's fine. Hopefully we can keep all our players, the rest of our players for this season. It'd be quite disappointing to lose a bunch of our players, because I think there's a really good core in there that, you know, with some of those guys, if we can keep them for, you know, a season, maybe even 2 seasons, a lot of them, they're going to be really, really good players. I'm just not quite confident we're going to be able to do it, because, like I said, it is part of playing as Ajax. It's just one of those things you have to deal with. I'm going to... Alright, we're scouting Ron Vlaar. I was thinking of bringing him in for a tutor, but he actually went to Bournemouth, so that's fine. Alrighty, report from you guys. So, yeah, so you still do have a little bit of development to go. Actually, that's interesting. Adaptability would likely encounter problems adapting to a new country at a young age. Interesting. So that's a sign of a hidden trait there. So adaptability, I think, is a hidden trait. So that's a bit of an idea that potentially we should wait for maybe a season or 2, or take the risk and basically accept that maybe he would, you know, be quite inconsistent for a while until he did adapt to the lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. So that's quite interesting. I think we'll probably leave him until the end of the season. Then we'll see how we go. Yeah, so we may have to pay a little bit more for him, but I think it'd be worth it. So. Alright, so that's good to know. That's why you do get scouts. It's a lot more important in this version of the game. Ruben Jensen. So, obviously you're not going to improve anymore because you're, 27. So he's professional. Light-hearted. Well, I suppose it does say in here, doesn't it? Yeah, he would add to the professional nature. I suppose that's good. No problems. Very interested in joining the club. Consistent, natural in a couple of positions. Enjoys big matches. That's another indication of a hidden trait there. The important matches is a hidden trait. Yeah, so it actually looks quite interesting. So I'm really quite actually tempted to actually offer him a contract at the end of the year. I think I'm going to do it, guys. I think I'm going to do it. Even if we only use him as a bit of a trade bait in terms of we'll play him for a little while, even like half a season to a season. I suspect his value should come up quite a bit, given that he's near the end of his contract. Obviously, value drops near the end of your contract. So given his value should come up, if we actually give him some game time and, you know, get some good performances and stuff, we should be able to sell him for quite a bit of money. So, well, at least a hell of a lot more actually. Well, obviously because he's going free, so we should be able to sell him for, you know, even 5 to 7 million. It's going to be like a 5 to 7 million profit on, you know, on nothing. So he actually loses like really quite good stats, and like his sounds like his hidden stats are really quite good as well. So obviously like important matches, consistency and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're going to do it, guys. I think we're going to offer him a contract. I know it's not really fitting with our... I suppose it is, though. It's Norwegian. He's 27 years old. So bringing in established players is something that you have to do as Ajax to, you know, get your guys tutored. I'm not going to go outside Scandinavia. I'm not going to make a habit of signing sort of guys from outside of Dutch land. But I think for this guy, it's just too good an opportunity to pass up. Alrighty, so... we're just going to offer you probably a first team role here for, we'll give you 2 years actually, so we might as well offer you 3, just so we don't sort of lose you. No, I'm going to give you 2. So wage, what are you earning at the moment? You're earning 6.25, yeah, probably give you something similar, aren't we? Offer you 7.5. We'll go use existing terms, actually bump a few of these up, so we put that to 2018, we'll give you a bit more money. First team, end of contract, appearance fee will give you 1.2k, actually give you 2k. Goal bonus will give you 1.1. Unused substitute, same 1.1. I'm going to take out relegation wage drop, remove, and top division promotion. Oops, there we go. Signing on fee will give you a little bit more, give you 100k, give your agent a 150. Does sweeten things up, does make things go a little bit easier. He wants a whole lot more money. What's the 3-year contract? I haven't got a problem with the 3-year contract. The wage is a little high though, so can we get this down? I'm thinking because he's not average. Obviously, only average first team wage is only 9k. We do have Nemanja G in there and Bazaware who's going to come in. Although he's a better player than Serrero, so he could actually take Serrero's place in the team in terms of that box-to-box midfielder role. Having no problem with those signing on fees. It's just the wage, just a little high. We'll give you 15, see if you'll take that. Not quite. I'll leave all those appearance fees there, and I'll actually get you down to say 15.7. There we go. I'm not unhappy with that. It would be, I think, it'd be quite an interesting signing. All right, Mr. Julian here. So 2 stars, and you got 3 potentially more star potentials. So that's interesting. Naturally in several positions. Interesting joining the club. Not very consistent. Yeah, that's fine. He's fairly professional. He matches our philosophy, balanced personality, adaptable, which is quite good. And yes, that is quite good. So he could be another quite interesting one, I think. Out on the left as an attacking midfielder left. So we're going to wait till the end of the season, but we're going to keep those guys on our radar, so that is good. Cool. Righty. So 28, nearly 29 minutes. I think what we're going to do... Man United doing fairly well, so up to 3rd now, which is good to see. Grasshoppers have bid for Van Kessel, Gino. Do we want to actually bid for him then? So, attacking midfielder right. I'm thinking not. I'm thinking he's 22 already. We actually probably got better options. Obviously, we've got Shoney playing out there. We do have Nuri and El Ghazi can play out there. I think we've got a few youngsters as well who can play in there. So, we scored by here. Best role, attacking midfielder right. So we've got Vaclav Cerny. He's actually going to be a very, very good player. I think you're looking at some of his stats here. He's only 18. He's doing a lot of development this year, which is really quite pleasing. So I think he's actually going to be ready to play next season. So to have Leslie Desage, Rodel Becker, El Trisi. Yeah, right. So we're not going to go for Van Kessel. That's fine. They can take him. Which is good. Alrighty. I think I will try and get through a game or two, guys, just to get, like I said, a little bit of something interesting for the episode. It's pretty much been me talking for a lot of it. So maybe a little bit of a longer episode, maybe around the 35-minute mark, but I'll try and get through a couple of games fairly quickly, which should be good. Rightio. Fulham have made an offer for Leandro Bacuna. That's fine, we don't really want him. Available players for the first team, the B team match tomorrow. No, I'm not going to give anyone there. I'll probably play a few of these guys. Get some of their sharpness up. Cool. Alrighty, so it is an away game, and the pitch and stuff is fine, weather's fine, so that's good to know. Rightio. Cool. Alrighty, so Milik is injured for a few days. It's not much though, only 2 to 4 days, so it's fine. It means El Ghazi is going to be our number 1 man. Shona can probably stay out on the right. Klaassen. How are we going in terms of conditioning? So Van Rijn, 91%. How's Leroy Owusu, 100%? I should give you a first team start then. And Heitinger and Riederwald. Where's Veltman? You should be fine. Yeah, you're fine. We're actually going to start giving Riederwald some more games. He actually has been performing quite well, so a little bit better than Heitinger actually. So I'm going to start giving Riederwald some more games in this second half of the season. Only 19, but he should have a fair bit of development from those games, so we can start doing that. Dykes, we're actually going to put Boilers in because he's lacking. Oh no, he's only 85% conditioning, right? So Dykes is going to start there. Eunice is going to play out on the left, given that Fisher is going to be out for another 4 months. Oh, I can't believe that's terrible. I already see some of his stats starting to come down, which is very, very disappointing. But anyway, he's only 21. Hopefully he can come back from it. He did actually have a year out, I think, before. So if that happened in real life, I suspect he would really sort of suffer because he was out for nearly a year, I think. Probably last season, I think it was. Sinkgraven's not right. Fisher's obviously out. Actually this is something I didn't mention. We actually brought back Laren Duarte. Given that we actually had Sinkgraven injured, Fisher's out, we needed a little bit more cover in this centre of the park. Also out left, so actually Duarte can actually play out the left. He actually is a natural attacking midfielder left. So that was the main reason I actually brought him back, was because Fisher's going to be out for the rest of the season. So Armin Younes is going to get worn out there playing. So I actually brought him back, so he's going to start playing out on the left a little bit, which is good. So a little bit more cover there. He wasn't actually getting many games at his Turkish club anyway, so it's really a good thing to do. Didrik Boer is going to come back into the team as our sub there. Van Rijn will come back in as that sub there. Nemanja G is actually going to come in place of Serrero there. Who else? Nuri's actually coming in place of Klaassen because he needs some sharpness. And what about Duarte? I suppose we could actually play you in terms of in place of Buzzaware, potentially. No, we won't. We'll probably put you on as a sub for Eunice. Squad number? Yep, that'll be Duarte, so that's fine. Just auto number. He wants 8. Can you give him 8? No, we can't. Too bad. You get 23. So probably actually only going to be one game, guys, but hopefully it's a little bit interesting. So they're putting me with pretty stock standard formation. Nothing too jumps out at me there, really. None of their fullbacks are being pushed forward too much, none of their wingers or anything. Obviously, Christensen's going to be the defensive one. Bakker is going to be sort of the, I guess, the more general all-rounder, and then Olberg's going to be the playmaker. Not going to do any tactical opposition instructions there. And a favourite, so I'm going to say, which is they expect nothing but a win. It didn't really do much. I was interested to see what they did. Alrighty guys, I'm going to pause the video quickly and I'll jump back once something interesting happens, probably the end of the game, so see you all soon. Hey guys, and we're back. So, a 2-2 draw. A little bit disappointing. We conceded a very late goal, so that was a little bit unfortunate, but not in the end of the world. That's fine. So I agree here, we should be winning these matches. I'm going to say assertively it wasn't good enough, and yeah, that worked. So hopefully that fires them up a little bit. Actually, draws and like sort of bad draws like this, and even losses aren't always that bad a thing, because if you get on too much of a run, your team can actually sort of get into a little bit of a slump, and actually can get really complacent. It can be difficult to sort of keep them motivated. So actually is quite good sometimes, actually give them a little bit of a blast, because it does seem to actually focus them a little bit more and sort of, makes their sort of performance over the course of a season a little bit more consistent. Well, that's been in my experience anyway, so could be absolute rubbish, but that's what I found. I'm probably going to show you the highlights actually, guys. Actually, no, we're running at 35 minutes, so I probably actually won't. So it wasn't really all that exciting. To be honest, it was, you can see he only shaded possession. They actually had more shots and stuff. It actually was really quite an end-to-end game, so it was quite entertaining, which was good. So as you can see, he was actually still sitting on top by 11 points. So we're still a fair way in front. So obviously 18 games, about halfway through the season. I think the Dutch season's a little bit shorter than the Premier League, so only around about 34, 35, 36 games, I think, from memory. Yeah, so obviously we're doing quite well. So we've only won 13, drawn 4, lost 1. So only losing 1 for so far in the season is really quite a good result. So which is good. We're massively outscoring everyone, 53 goals, and the closest to us is 36. Against, not amazingly, so obviously there's the bottom, the 3 teams below us in the table actually have conceded less. So our defence hasn't been wonderful. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of tweaking, probably in the off-season. I think probably not going to bother in this season, but sort of I'll keep an eye out how things are going with the tactic over the course of the rest of the season. I'll do a little bit of tinkering, I think, in terms of the defence. Hopefully it won't sort of, the problem is you don't want to stunt your attack, so I'm obviously really happy scoring a lot. But yeah, so probably for the Champions League games and things like that, we have to be a little bit tighter in terms of defence. So, because obviously they don't matter in terms of league and all that kind of stuff, league tables, so the whole course of a season, so all that kind of stuff. Cool. Alright guys, hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to end the episode here. Hope you're enjoying this series. Let me know suggestions, thoughts, feedback, all that kind of stuff. Always keen to hear people's comments. And always, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video if you haven't done so already. And if you have done, you have my eternal thanks. That is really, really good. Alrighty guys, hope you've all had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all for the next episode.